Welcome back to Bash Bros in episode 34 of Notorious Pro Wrestling, the TEW Let's Play series where we find out what exactly would happen if Conor McGregor started his own wrestling promotion. So, guess what happened? I recorded an entire episode without any footage because I forgot to press that fucking record button. So I'm a bit pissed, in case you haven't noticed. So I'm going to blast through what happened last time, including some big news which have been really cool to show you live. But hey ho, welcome to Bash Bros. This is the shit that we do almost too often. Anyway, so the big news last time was we made a big couple of signings. The first signing we made, which is pretty big, is we signed Session Moth Martina, who is a big name across the UK and Ireland indie scene. That'll be a massive deal whenever she debuts. She's a great worker and a great entertainer. If you look at that, like, that's a lot of green there, and there's a lot of green there. Second big signing we did was Liv Morgan was released by WWE, so we signed her as Margot Quinn. Yes, those are two Harley Quinn references. Her other alter ego was just called Marley. I had never heard of her being called Marley before, but I like mine more. So she will be debuting with us soon-ish. My plan is for her to join up with Crazy Mary Dobson, aka Sarah Logan, and bring back 2/3 of the Riot Squad. I think they've got great chemistry together. I was always a massive fan of the Riot Squad. I wish they'd done more with them. So what you missed last week's in terms of Wanted was a 56 rated show. We carried on some of the storylines. For example, Tennille Dashwood is now the number one contender for the Women's Championship and will be facing Viper at the Fuck What They Think pay-per-view. On top of that, Chris here got a little bit of revenge against Jake the Snake Roberts and his faction when he attacked Penta and Sonico and also went on to defeat Sonico in the Wanted main event. Also, Lethal and Grisham debuted, setting their sights on the NPW tag team titles and also defeating the Filthy Generation in their debut match. That is you caught up on everything you missed last week. In terms of this week, we don't really have much news other than, so on top of Liv Morgan leaving WWE, WWE also released Goldberg. I'm not bringing him in. Man is too fucking old, can't fucking go anymore, and I still haven't forgiven him for pinning the Fiend. So, also then, a lot of the scandals that had kind of rocked the wrestling industry have seemed to subside. So Jay Bradley, his scandals blown over, Matt Riddle, and Austin Theory. So all the scandals have subsided in-game. Other than that, I can't think of any other news to discuss, so let's just book the show, shall we? Okay, and we are back, coming at you from the Sunflower House in Belfast. It is Thursday Night Wanted. And yeah, there's not really much to talk about. It was a pretty straightforward booking session. Originally it was supposed to be Asuka versus Tessa Blanchard, but Asuka has now left us with her contract expiring. But yeah, so other than that, let's get into it. So in a pre-show match, Kenny Williams defeated Dean Allmark in 14:32. Dean had a 40 and Kenny had a 50, which is very good. This heel turn has really done Kenny a lot of favours, with a 45 rated segment. After the match then, Grado comes out and taunts Kenny for not winning the number one contender match last week, saying that even though he split away from Grado Talent Agency, he still can't win the big one. This infuriates Kenny and challenges Grado to a match in 2 weeks' time. 59 segment, which is very good. And on to our main show, opening with an in-ring segment where Viper tries to show Zia that Tennille is just using her. Zia, though, is annoyed because, Viper, she's used to winning. Viper is the current champion. It's easy for her to say what she says. But Zia, she's only gotten used to winning. She's only just gotten back to being on a winning side, and this infuriates her that Viper can be so condescending, and she doesn't understand the pain Zia has felt, especially with the pressure of living up to the legacy of the surname Brookside, and she ends up, in her frustration, slapping Viper. And this will lead to match with the two later tonight. 45 segment. Then in a match that had good heat and decent wrestling, Tessa Blanchard defeated Rachel Ellering in 15-11 with a pile driver. Ellering had a 31 and Tessa had a 49, which led to a 42 match overall. Very good from Tessa. Post-match then, she taunts the Joshi saying that she injured Riho and they, what are they going to do about it? Until Maiko marches out with Maki and demands a match at the pay-per-view. 56 rated segment overall. And then in the match that's fantastic heat and decent wrestling, Viper defeated Zia Brookside in 14:44 with the Michinoku driver. Viper had a 43 and Zia had a 33. Disappointing from Viper and just poor from Zia, with a 38 rated segment overall. At the minute, it looks like I'm kind of going to give up on Zia. I'll finish off this storyline with Tenille, but I think Tenille's probably going to win that blow-off match. Which is a bit weird for the heel to win a blow-off match, I know, but Tenille's performing and Zia just isn't. And in our main event, in an exceptional match, Pentagon Jr. defeated Easton Reese with a Top Road Styles Clash, making it defense number 1 for Penta with the NPW title. 45 from Reese, 60 from Penta with a 53 rated match. Very good. Easton Reese still not quite hitting those main event level ratings, but Penta just, much like Chris Hero, was on God tier. Post-match then, the heels start to attack Easton Reese until Chris Hero makes a save and puts out a challenge to Jake that if his boys, James and Easton Reese, can beat Jake's boys, Penta and Sonico, he gets to pick a stipulation, and also vice versa. And Jake accepts. Setting up the main event for next week. 53 segment overall. 52 show, which is good considering we didn't do a Conor McGregor segment. Only downside is the Viper and Zia Brookside match. There appears to be absolutely no news then coming out of our wanted taping other than JSO looks to be re-signing with WWE. But yes, thank you very much for joining me on this episode of Notorious Pro Wrestling. A bit of a blitz of an episode. This will be very short, I assume, judging by the fact that unedited it's currently sitting at 18 minutes. But I think I kind of blasted through quite a lot because I was quite annoyed with the fact that I lost an entire episode. But hey ho, look, we live and we learn. Thank you as always for joining me. If you did enjoy this, please do subscribe, leave a like and a comment. Any feuds, tag teams, storylines you want to see. And with all that being said, I will see you next time on Bash Bros.